And hello folks, it is I, KahMehKahZeh. I'm here to bring you Cooking with KahMehKahZeh. It's been a while since I've done this, because, well, I just haven't really been inspired until you inspired me. As I mentioned before previously, I have pretty much paused all of my other projects. Well, almost all of them. There is about 6 that I've counted that haven't paused, that are still in effect. But then I counted how many other projects I had that I was inspired to do, and it was 84. There's 84 other projects other than the 6 that I am pausing. And that is how much you inspire me. So, without further ado, what I'm doing is I'm making fudge, dark chocolate fudge. I'm using, this is a different type than I used before, but apparently it's better. It's also local, natural, all kinds of stuff. It's a Guittard, something. Extra dark chocolate, 63%. That's 3% more than the last batch of fudge I made. I'm also going to make it raspberry. So it's going to be a raspberry dark chocolate fudge. Why? I don't know. Does this directions exist on the internet? No. So I'm doing what I do best and just making stuff up as I go. But no random concoction by KahMehKahZeh is complete without ghost pepper. Why ghost pepper, you ask? Because ghost pepper actually has a fantastic flavor and it releases so much in so many different things. But remember to use it in very little moderation. A little bit of this ghost pepper goes a long way. I mean, this is, even still, how much is left has to be like months and months of supply that can be used. And I don't know why the spoon's all the way in there, but it doesn't matter. So, what you have to do in order to make this, and I'm going to give you multiple styles of recipes in the same thing while I make only one style. What it is you need 3 cups of chocolate chips. Whatever kind of chocolate you want to use, white chocolate, dark chocolate, milk chocolate, orange chocolate, any kind of thing you want is fine. If you want to add flavors such as like peanut butter, or you want to add like caramel or anything of the sort, substitute 1 cup of the chocolate for 1 cup of the other type of chips that you want to use. The other thing you need is, for 1 batch, you need 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. This isn't actually the same recipe that I was using before, but this is for really simple fudge, and apparently it's delicious. And well, okay, it's the same recipe, just different ingredients that I had access to. So we've got all of that. It's really simple to make. I mean, ridiculously. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it in a pan with wax paper, but we'll get to that in a moment. First things first is you go and get yourself your measuring cups, which fortunately I'm right above it. It's a half cup. There's the full cup. I swear, I have these things all set up. Oh well, I can use a half cup 6 times. That's fine. See, half cup. Woo. And so, ta-da! Use your Engleblend sweetened condensed milk. Doesn't really matter what kind, whatever works best for you or whatever flavors you like the most. Let me get rid of this real quick as I drip it on myself. So you take the condensed milk, you pour it in here. Then you realize that's really, 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 really slow, and so I'm going to go grab one of my favorite utensils on the planet, plastic fork. Plastic because I use non-stick stuff and I don't trust anything else with it or near it, and so just scoop out all the condensed milk you can out of your can, because you want every last morsel you can out of this, just to give you the best type of fudge that you can. Just like I can't remember names of games, I can't remember names of things that I'm doing. And so I had never made fudge before, other than when I made it, I think 2 days ago. So since it turned out well, I decided to share it with all of you, and then even instead of using a normal recipe like I did last time, I'm making my own thing with the raspberry and the ghost pepper and all that fun stuff. And actually, you know what? Come on, drip off. Stop. There. Go. Next, what you want is, this is fine the way it is. It'd be delicious just to eat it as, no, don't do that. What we need is lovely scissors to get ourselves our chocolate. So, as mentioned before, we are using 3 cups of delicious. In this case, it's dark chocolate because you like dark chocolate. Come on. So we go boop. That's 1/2. And okay, so that's 1 cup. So I'm losing count after just a couple of these. Okay, and then there's 1.5. And then there's 2 cups. That's 2 cups right there, and then I still have some left here, which means I need to open up another one of these, which I already figured I would. When I made the fudge last time, I used a 10-ounce bag of dark chocolate, which these are 11.5, which means wait, that was 2 cups. Okay, I don't want to mess this up now. It's a little late to redo all of this. So there's that half. Oh, there's some extra ones in there. Yeah, a few more chips. Yeah, we're good. So, at this point, we've got the gloriousness of this. And this is just the beginning. Next we do is we have, on a low heat, do that and go whoop. Oh, look at that there. What's happening behind here is actually a soup, apparently. But ignoring the soup, we're going to keep with our plastic fork tradition and hopefully heat this up. All you have to do is melt it. You don't actually need to cook it because you could end up overcooking it, which will mess the fudge up, at least from what I read online. I could be horribly wrong with this, but it's a very simple recipe, and what we're doing is, you know, I probably should have added this beforehand. Well, no time like the present. So, what we're going to do while we have the chance here when it's starting to melt is we start stirring, and you notice that it already is starting to become glorious. Look at those chunks. Since the melting point of chocolate is really low, it makes it so this is a very simple process. The longest process that this is going to take is when we're done. You have to let it sit in the refrigerator for 2 hours. And yes, 2 hours. I checked it like almost every 15 minutes when I made it the first time, and it just, not until it reached the 2-hour point did it really become a solid fudge. Then it was like, you know, not frozen. And what I need to do in the meantime is prep my flavoring, and you can use any kind of flavoring you want. Normally you'd use about 1 teaspoon, depending on what it is, to like 1.5 teaspoons. What I'm going to do is, since I don't have any instructions for raspberry, I'm going to use 1 1/4, which hopefully I have. That's a 1/2 teaspoon. I have a 1/4 teaspoon? I don't have a 1/4 teaspoon. Well, I'm going to guess because I have a 1/2 teaspoon and a full teaspoon. But we're going to do that once the stuff starts to melt, because I'd rather mix it all in together. Wow, that actually smells pretty good. And what I did is I got like the kind of flavoring that is like natural, made out of the real stuff, not imitation, because I want to create this as a real flavor, something you really enjoy. So I want to make sure that what I'm using is quality ingredients from quality things to make sure that it is fantastic. And so I've got that, and I mean, and the ghost pepper, for any of you who are actually watching this uh, to this point, the ghost pepper I ground myself out of dried ghost peppers, and I use a coffee grinder, but I would recommend that you be very careful because you can cause a lot of dust, which can cause you to burn your eyes for a great many hours while having to deal with that. Okay, so it's starting to turn brown on the sides, so it's heating up quite nicely. We just got to get this all melted into a nice smooth aspect, because I believe fudge should be smooth and soft, maybe even silky. Pepper getting on my hands makes it very difficult to move my fingers. Alright, so now that I've got that all set up, we're going to take a pinch. And as I mentioned before, ghost pepper, you do not need a lot. That is it. That is all the ghost pepper I'm using. I'm actually throwing away the rest of it and washing my hands thoroughly, as I've constantly rubbed my eyes and blinded myself in the past with ghost pepper. I don't think that's good enough. I'm gonna blind myself, I swear. And ghost pepper, it releases, as I mentioned, the flavor that I like, uh, only when it's heated. So just adding it in after something is done or when it's cool or other than that, it doesn't have the same effect as if you cook it into it, such as if you mix it with sauces and so forth. You want to heat up that sauce to the point of almost boiling it. Cook that flavor into it. So let's also get a little bit more. I'll do that. So raspberry. Clean that out. You notice I clean stuff out as I go just because I have a bad habit of not. So that should be good. That's probably the only thing I'm ever going to use the raspberry for. Add it to the rest of my collection. Now let's stir all of this in, as it's definitely getting there. And you can see how glorious this is turning out. And yeah, I'm wearing a holiday shirt, but it's actually not from this year, it's from last year. Mainly because, yes, I wear shirts year-round, does not matter what they are. I'm making sure that this plastic fork is not breaking. Not that I've had it break while I'm cooking before, but I just want to make sure. So look at that turn to a nice deep brown color, which brown is an awesome color. Let's see. Okay, so it's still going. See, it's becoming rather glorious there. Probably the longest process you're going to end up seeing here is me just trying to get this to stir and so forth. But in the meantime, you can prep your glorious pan. You can just stick it straight into the pan, and then it's held to get out, and you could use like hot water around it and try and make it plop out or so forth. Easiest thing I find is, since I'm not worried about its actual form, since I'm going to cut it up anyway, is I use wax paper. Which is here. And I just take this and cram it inside of the bowl. Like so. It's not pretty. I mean, it's really not pretty. But the thing is you're going to pour it in here, it's going to take the form, and then it's going to make it so you can just pop it right out when it comes out of the fridge and cut it straight. That way you don't have to deal with any other kind of mess or otherwise. Which is always a good thing in my opinion, because it makes life just that much easier. Okay, let's go back to stirring. You can turn this heat up a little bit. I'm not even at medium heat. I'm at like a low medium heat. Because as I said, you're not trying to cook this. All you're trying to do is melt it in with the condensed milk. Last time I did this, what I did is I cooked only 2 cups of the chocolate chips. As I mentioned before, I was going to give you different instructions. And so then I took 1 cup of peanut butter chips. And then after this was all melted, I poured in the peanut butter chips so they'd stay chips, and then poured it into the bowl. So that way you'd have like a peanut butter cup kind of effect to it. In this case, we're just going with the straight chocolate, just for a different aspect. And plus I wanted to try seeing what happens when you cook 3 cups versus that 1 extra cup that you kind of just, well, drop in. And this is almost like completely melted now. Just a few more chunks, and then it will be nice and smooth. I want to make sure I'm also mixing in all of that raspberry flavor to make sure it coats every part of it. Which it's just taking its sweet time, and I am just an impatient person. I don't even know how long I've been doing this video for, and I'm already like, oh, I feel like I'm boring the crap out of these people. Oh, that's not that bad. And yes, I'm wearing glorious pajama pants, because why not? I'm at home. I'm cooking. Does it really matter what I'm wearing? And if you said yes, then you have to tell me what I should have been wearing during this, because I don't have like a 3-piece suit. let alone a tie or one of those like flat things. And I have enough to do a second batch of fudge, however I end up seeing fit, which I may try and incorporate nuts into it if I do get the opportunity. But in this case, I just want to try and create a smooth, velvety, glorious. Ooh, maybe I should see if there's like a red velvet flavoring. I don't know what red velvet is, but maybe that would be really cool with a milk chocolate or dark chocolate or I have no idea. But I like red velvet cake, buttercream frosting. Mmm, delicious. Ooh, there, it's becoming really smooth now. So at this point, we're going to make sure that we keep stirring, and you want to stir frequently because you you want to get the stuff off the bottom because you are not trying to cook it, you're not trying to burn it. And the cool thing is that when you're done with this, it really doesn't stick to the pan, so it's really easy to clean up. And if you guys are randomly curious, uh, if you Google my name, the first video link that shows up after my channel, of course, right now, as of right now, is my macaroni and cheese cooking with KahMehKahZeh. If you go look at the images, it shows the cooking with KahMehKahZeh images, which is so weird because I did that well after making lots of videos. The whole history of the video thing is like I tried to be like other YouTubers and crap when I first started, like The Last of Us and so forth, just my mannerisms and crap. And I honestly I gave up and just was myself at the point that you're knowing me now. As I have cats jumping who are really fat, and I didn't think they could actually jump. Okay, so this is just about complete. As you can see that this has become really smooth, it has become really rich, and it almost makes you just want to take a spoon and start eating it because it's like a frosting type of texture at this point, which is much thicker than what I did before because this one actually has, as I said, 3 cups of chocolate chips. So I think we're about done here. So what I'm going to do is make room so that way we can pour it into the pan. And yes, I'm sure there's a step and the step still goes away. I think we got it. I think we're good here. All right, so I'm gonna go whoop. Move that back over there. And so we have, as you can see, the lovely pan there, which at this point we're just gonna, hopefully, we got all of that mixed in really nicely, and we're just gonna drop it in there like that. As I said, it doesn't really stick to the pan. We're gonna get the rest of that in there in just a moment after I organize this pan's inner lining. Okay, that should be good. Because what you want to make sure is like every crinkle and so forth is going to cause the paper to tear when you try and take it off of it, but that's fine. Look at that, it just comes straight off the pan. Slap it in there. Straight off the pan, slap it in. I mean, it is a really, really a simple fudge type making thing. Come on, all the fudge. All of the fudge. Actually, we'll save this for a treat for me later. I'll set that there. Take care of these chocolate chips real quick. So we'll use that as a place to place the lovely treat. Because, you know, it's just, oh, actually, I need to smooth this out. What am I doing? Oh, well, no big deal. It's not the end of the world if I don't get to lick the spoon, fork, plastic fork, lick the plastic fork. Just flatten it down. I mean, this is unnecessary. You can make it look whatever you want. You can try and smooth it out. I am never that worried because if I become too OCD, I will spend way too much time doing what I really don't need to end up doing. Like, trying to make this perfect. Like I almost am right now. And nope, nope, done. Stop. Stop. We'll stop. Kind of stop. Stop. I'm stopping. There. All right, so at this point, you are seeing whoop, that. That is fudge. But now, what we're going to do is I'm going to go stick it in the fridge. And in 2 hours, which I'm not going to let you watch for 2 hours because that would be ridiculous and I don't think anyone would want to watch this refrigerate for 2 hours, I will see you guys in just a moment. And hello, folks. It is I, KahMehKahZeh, back with this. It's been 2 hours, and so what we're going to do is just, well, pop this out, and that's as easy as that gets. And look, it's still clean. It's very cold, but this is still clean. I'll use that for the next thing of fudge. And so here, what we're trying to do is unfold this and not leave paper on it. And voila, we have the fudge, the big fudge of gloriousness. And so, since I am going to be delivering this in containers, I've got a small one, which will fit about that much in there. And look at that. Just pure glorious fudge right there. And it doesn't need to stay refrigerated, thankfully. And then for you, I'm going to give you that one. Because, you know what? I would fit as much as I can in there. But that is the entire aspect of how long it takes and the effort to make some nice quality fudge, or at least in hopes that it's a nice quality fudge. But that's all there is to this. If you did have any suggestions or other things that I should try to make that are simple, that are annoying, that I can make more stupid videos on, please let me know below. Other than that, I hope that you do enjoy. And just so you... I will... I just go bite out of it. And that's definitely... I mean, I'm not a fudge connoisseur, so I don't know what good fudge really tastes like. But this has a fantastic texture. And I'm saying an interesting flavor because I don't know what I did, but I'm hoping that this ended up turning out well. So if you folks had fun, please remember to like, subscribe, comment, do all the fun things. I will catch you next time I do a cooking thing, whatever the heck that is.